What's up, grinders? Welcome back to the channel. It's Evildea, hyper-polyglot, speaker of every language in the ISO 639 standard, here to answer your questions once again. See, in a recent video, I got a comment from one of you guys saying, Evildea, hyper-polyglot, speaker of every language in ISO standard 639. I'm a little bit curious, how can I learn the language of women? And my friend, this is where you went wrong. You do not learn the language of women, you acquire the language of women. Now, if you're a little bit confused about that distinction between learn and acquire, trust me, I will show you the difference, and I will help you walk that path so that you can finally, fully connect with them on every single level and understand exactly what they want. As a speaker of every language in the ISO 639 standard, and a man who has been with a woman for more than 16 years, I can attest to this methodology. Now, I'm going to explain this. It's going to be a little bit technical. You may need to take notes, and there's going to be a few acronyms thrown out here and there, okay? Don't get lost in it. Understand. In fact, you shouldn't even really study this. You should just let this come to you and just fully flood over you. So what we're going to be talking about today is a very specific methodology, one that is kind of controversial, not many people have heard about, but it is the secret to pretty much everyone's success out there. It's called ALG. Automatic language growth. The amazing thing about ALG is it's not specific to just languages, although the language of women is a language in its own right. It can be used for pretty much anything. But today, boys and girls, well, whoever you are, you're going to be learning their language. Even if you are a woman and you want to acquire women's language, this can help you, okay? So what's so special about this method and how can it help you? Well, essentially, what you're going to do is not study the conversation, the thinking, the habits of women. You're not going to listen to what they say, because by listening to them, you are essentially studying what they're saying. No, you're going to allow everything to do with women to wash over to you and then to enter your subconscious. And via your subconscious, you will slowly acquire a complete, utter understanding of them. There will be no books involved, there will be no study, there will be nothing that you would formally think about when you want to communicate with women. This is going to be a pure exercise of allowing it to flood over you. First, you need to be able to understand them, but without actually studying them. So how would you do that? Well, you need to start with the most basic of concepts. You need to watch, let's say, some women in action. Watch what they do and watch the words that they use. And when I say watch the words and their actions, I don't mean take notes and study. I mean really 100% just concentrate on it, but allow it to flood over you. Don't think about it, allow it to flood over you. Now, you're going to watch them in the most basic of contexts. Maybe you'll see one open a fridge and grab something out of the fridge. And you'll listen to the words that she says. And those words will connect with the actions that she's performing in that moment. And as she performs these actions and she says different words, you will realize that there are certain ways that the woman communicates about certain things within her life. This is the most simple of contexts, but you don't want to stay at this level forever. What you're going to do is slowly implement something that's called comprehensible input. Once you understand the words that are associated with the most basic of actions that she performs, you allow it to grow a little bit more advanced. You add a little bit more complexity to the situation. Eventually, with time, and I mean a lot of time, and we'll get to the time component in a moment, you will be able to understand when her words are completely in reverse to her actions. It will get to the point where she goes to open her mouth and you already fully understand everything that's to come because you are able to predict without even thinking about it. Now, how can you observe enough of this simple woman interaction that slowly evolves over time into more complexity? The traditional path is, if you want to go out and do this yourself without spending money, is you could just go to a park and stare at women for hours on end, okay? Obviously, don't make it too obvious, or, certain things might happen, but just sit there and just watch them quietly from the shadows. You will slowly learn. You continue doing that, and then maybe you can go to a supermarket. Maybe after some time you could go to some type of meeting. You could go to the local sports club, the gym, wherever you want to go. Just sit there quietly watching them. Not talking. Definitely don't interact. Now you might think, but Evildea, how am I to improve my communication if I'm not interacting? No, you are in the passive phase of absorbing a complete understanding, acquiring an understanding of how they operate. Now, how long will you do this for, you might be thinking? Well, roughly it depends on the nature of the woman that you're trying to learn to communicate with, but we guesstimate around 1,000 hours of just sitting there and observing women. Now, you might be thinking, I don't know, Evildea, sitting there in a park just staring at women for hours on end might not be the best strategy to learn to communicate with them. Remember, we're not here to learn, we're here to acquire. So get the learn out of your head and think acquire. You might also be thinking, I don't know where I can go and sit for 1,000 hours and just observe. Well, don't worry, at the end of this video, I'll post a link to a service that I run. It's called dreamingwomen.com. There you'll be able to watch thousands of hours of women just performing general actions, and you'll be able to obtain an understanding of what they're doing. Now, once you get to the 1,000 hours, by this point, you will instinctively understand every action that they perform. Complete without thought, okay? But now comes communication. Now you might be thinking, well, I've observed them for 1,000 hours. I should be able to just walk straight up to them and communicate fully in a language that they understand. No, this won't happen. But do understand that given time, you will outperform anyone out there, any man or even another woman who tries to speak and learn, via traditional methods, going to courses, asking women what they think, that stuff. You will acquire way beyond them. But there is a little bit of a lag here, okay? So for that point where you first start speaking, you may be like a little bit, but when they reply to you, you instinctively understand them. And given enough practice with them, slowly you will start to improve. Now you might be thinking, okay, but I don't want to fumble my way through all these conversations. Well, that's okay. I have another service, okay, where you can speak with women for hours on end in what we call crosstalk. You're going to speak man speak, and they're going to respond to you in women speak. Now, this is more comfortable for you as a man, okay, because you can be more relaxed, you just think as a man thinks, okay, and you'll be hearing at least how they think and how they respond back to you. Now, you can just do this, I'm guessing probably 100 hours of this, and by that point you will already accelerate past anyone else who has at any point in their life tried to learn how to communicate with women, okay? And you will not only accelerate past them, you will acquire a native-like understanding of the woman's thinking. This shit is next level, okay? You will think like them. You will understand them on every single level possible. Now you might be thinking, well, do I really want to go that far? Yes, you do, because the one thing women always complain about is that us men do not understand them. But if you acquire their language, you'll be able to speak to directly their heart and their mind. Now just remember, go to the link down in the description below for $12.99 a month. I will teach you how to acquire the language of women, dreaminglanguage.com. Remember it, don't forget it.